Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 26. It's Fame and Fortune Friday, and I'm your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes, CEO and founder of Systro, organization strategist for small business, where we have a single focus, pointing you to the principles that prepare you to be profitable and prosperous. This week's Purposefully Profitable Entrepreneur of Excellence is Charles D. King. Up to this point, the purposefully profitable entrepreneurs of excellence that I have highlighted on this podcast have been household names. And then the lineup for today was another recognizable name until I received a magazine in the mail. Those of you who have children that are in college or are alumni of a higher level institution probably received their alumni magazine at your house. Maybe not, but we do. One of my sons graduated from Vanderbilt University, so the summer 2017 magazine arrived in the mail last week. The headline, emblazoned on the cover in huge letters, said, King of Hollywood, and the subheadline was, Charles D. King's star rises in the entertainment industry. Charles King is a young African American. So I found it interesting that this would be a story for the cover. There are plenty of African Americans in the entertainment industry, and African American stars are rising every day in Hollywood, I think. Nevertheless, I read the story. I typically read the alumni magazines, even my own on occasion. So I worked my way through the stories in the magazine until I came to the one about Charles D. King. And when I finished it, I decided to preempt the previously planned personality and highlight Charles D. King as this week's Purposefully Profitable Entrepreneur of Excellence. Charles King was born in Harlem in 1969 when his father was a pediatrics resident at Harlem Hospital. They moved to North Carolina and then Atlanta, settling eventually in Decatur, Georgia. Charles D. King is probably not a billionaire yet, as our previous entrepreneurs of excellence have been, though it's quite possibly he is a multimillionaire given the level of success he has had with his company. But his profile is not published in my source of all scholarly knowledge, Wikipedia. So I'm missing all of the pertinent details that you have come to know and love in our Fame and Fortune Friday. Since we have spent several weeks on the theme of purposeful personal development, and this is the final Fame and Fortune Friday in this series, I knew immediately that Charles D. King needed to be the purposefully profitable poster child for purposeful personal development. Enough of the setup. This is what caught my attention and why I chose Charles D. King to be the purposefully profitable entrepreneur of excellence in this final episode of personal development on Fame and Fortune Friday. Here's how the article begins. When Charles D. King, BA 91, arrived in LA in 1997, his friends were shocked to hear that he had taken a job in the mailroom. Here is why they were shocked. At the time, Charles King had a bachelor's degree in political science and government from Vanderbilt University and a law degree from Howard University. He had experience with AOL and MTV, and he had a huge list of contacts. Why did he take a job with the William Morris Agency, now called the William Morris Endeavor, in the mailroom? Because he had a purpose, and from that purpose came a plan. He knew where he wanted to be. He knew what he wanted to do, and he was ready and willing to do what was necessary to get there. His personal development was not based on academic accomplishments or employment experiences. It was based on what skills he needed to perform in his chosen profession. During the past 25 podcasts, we have talked about identifying your talent, setting your massive goal and breaking it down into manageable increments, being purposeful, and being persistent. Charles King is an excellent example of all of the above. The path to becoming a high-powered talent agent at William Morris typically starts in the mailroom, and not as a token tradition. Charles King willingly accepted this job and the 90 to 100-hour work weeks that came with it at low pay and with no guarantees. By 2000, a mere 3 years, Charles had worked his way out of the mailroom to become a motion picture agent. By 2004, he was vice president motion picture agent. In 2006, he moved up to senior vice president motion picture agent. And in 2009, 12 years after he started in the mailroom, he became the first African-American partner in the firm's 119-year history. I didn't highlight Charles King because of his heritage. I highlight him because of his purposefulness in progressing along his chosen path. And because the story doesn't end with Charles King riding off into the sunset as a William Morris executive. In 2015, Charles King left the William Morris agency to become founder and CEO of Macro Ventures. The article quotes one of King's classmates as saying, he always talked about going to Hollywood or New York and working in entertainment. He was really, really focused in that regard. The article goes on to say, King operated on an act as if principle. King is quoted as saying, I brought in 4 or 5 clients way before I became an agent. The Vanderbilt article, several stories found through an internet search, and the LinkedIn profile of Charles D. King are the source for the facts stated in this podcast. They are all available for you to read if you would like to learn more about this tremendous young man and the outstanding success he has already had as the CEO of Macro Ventures. Charles D. King was selected for his purposeful plan for progression and for not letting status stand in his way. While I can't validate his profitability, I can look into my crystal ball and correlate his path with others who have become purposefully profitable and predict a productive financial future. In summary, here are 5 key points about Charles D. King, this week's Purposefully Profitable Entrepreneur of Excellence. 1. Decide on your desired outcome. 2. Prepare for your future in accordance with your plan. 3. Do what it takes. Don't let status stand in your way. 4. Don't let past achievements stand in the way of future progress. 5. Believe in what you are doing and never lose sight of your ultimate goal, especially in the bright light of amazing successes along the way. This has been Fame and Fortune Friday with your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes. This week, we have talked about how to be purposeful in the personal development you need to become purposefully profitable. Next week, we begin again with Money Math Monday, where we will look at a money mindset model and a financial freedom formula that will help you accelerate on your path to profitability. If you have questions or feedback, please forward them to russ@systro.org. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast today so that you will not miss a single episode, and thank you for listening.